We're diving into everything known so far about Black Ops 6 Zombies DLC 2, as we got a huge tease about it at the end of Citadel Day more, hinting on the return of Origins. But we also have our very first in-game look at the map via an intel, as well as recent new leaked information about returning wonder weapons, new perks, new Gobblegums, and so much more. There is a lot to talk about in this video, so be sure to watch it through to the end to not miss anything. If you're excited at the idea of a potential Origins revisit for DLC 2, then let me know by clicking that thumbs up button. Diving straight in, the first official details we know of this map from Treyarch is during the Citadel Daymore ending, it is teased by Ravenov, Gabriel Kraft, that we need to go to an excavation site, also known as a dig site, in order to retrieve the Sentinel artifact. Very quickly, many Zombies fans, including myself, put two and two together with mentions of an excavation site being close to a French citadel. That to mean that Treyarch were referring to Excavation Site 64, also known as Origins. Now, this isn't actually as clear-cut as it seems, because whilst it seems we aren't literally just getting the Origins map in Black Ops 6 Zombies, but we might be getting a map that has a ton of the Origins elements and some callbacks to some of the most interesting parts of Origins in ways you wouldn't expect. Now, there were already two very subtle hints towards Origins within Citadel Daymore. First being the four bastard knights of the owl are very reminiscent of the four Primus statues you see in the bottom of the mound, as they represent four legendary knights, just like Primus represent four legendary knights from the Great War. And the Primus statues down in the mound are also wielding swords. Within the actual Guardian boss fight itself, that arena contains slabs of stone with extremely similar patterns to that you'll find within the crazy place on Origins. Now, you might just think that's a weird coincidence, but this texture within the game files is actually labeled to be in DLC 2, and that Treyarch reused this texture and put it in Citadel Daymore's boss fight, meaning that this crazy brickwork that matches the crazy place is also going to be present in the next Zombies map, which, judging from these textures, might share some resemblance to the underground caves of the crazy place from Origins. So is this map guaranteed to be an Origins remake, a revisit, a reimagining? Well, no. There are a ton of clues that Treyarch have left, including the fact that the map is set in France, just like Origins and the Excavation Site 64, and it has an excavation site and dig site, just like Origins. However, Treyarch has given us our own first in-game look at what this map is going to look like via an intel where Richtofen attaches a photo of the dig site itself. Now, it's a very low quality image, but we can make out some very unique details. The first is that there is some sort of face statue that is on the ground there in the bottom left of the image, and what's really cool is that this actually seems to match up with what we see in the study room inside of Citadel Daymore, where on the table where you pick up the Guardian key, you literally have a miniature version of this exact statue crumbled up on the table with the exact same face. Very likely to be related to the owl and the four bastard sons being the knights that the swords belong to. Now, some very keen-eyed fans have noticed that this teaser image actually comes from an existing part of the upcoming Avalon map, which you can view a very low poly version, and seems to match up perfectly to an area near one of the POIs on the Avalon map, which is a reimagining of the multiplayer map Dig. As you can see exactly where that face in the teaser would be if there was higher version polys loaded in. However, back in August when Black Ops 6 Zombies was first revealed, Treyarch instinctively said that every map in Zombies would be completely unique and original, not be a remake from a campaign asset, multiplayer, or Warzone. So I think that potentially maybe 5 or 10% of the upcoming map may also be what we're seeing here in this early version of Avalon, but I'm 99% confident this Zombies map just won't be a massive version of the Dig multiplayer map. It's going to be completely original. So what can we learn from matching up this preview image to what we're seeing here in Avalon? Well, firstly, this is more likely than not to be the spawn room for DLC 2, and if it is a dig site, then it sounds like a majority of the map will take place underground, with us starting above ground in the initial dig site, which would match the teaser image. There is a big underground area that leads to a slightly smaller underground area, which confirms that this map will likely to have several underground sections, and in this current version of it, within the Avalon map, there are two tunnels that lead you out of the dig site and towards the multiplayer map Dig, which are likely to be closed off in the Zombies map. But you can see there's quite a few interesting pieces of architecture that look to be Greek or Roman, and it's a heavy stress again that whilst this is currently in the upcoming Avalon map, this doesn't mean that Treyarch have created a Zombies map based off the Warzone map, and it's likely that this existed first and then they liked it so much that it became its own POI within the upcoming Warzone Avalon map. We have some very exciting narrative context to this excavation site and the backstory, because so far all we know is that Kraft has told us that is where we're going to find the Sentinel artifact. Father of Scarlet Rhodes and an accomplished archaeologist from the Black Ops 4 Chaos story, now plays a major key in the Dark Ether story, as that's where originally Craft learnt of the Sentinel artifacts that Richtofen then learnt from, but the whole backstory of this upcoming Zombies map is that Alistair Rose hired someone called Sir Archibald Fotherington Smythes to recover a Sentinel artifact that believed to be in Avalon, and paid a large amount for an excavation to be efficient and secretive in order to discover the Sentinel artifact, leaving Sir Archibald to recruit the workers among the local population, making it a massive effort across most of Avalon for Rhodes to try and recover the Sentinel artifact. And we're going to visit the excavation site after it was abandoned by Alistair Rhodes and Sir Archibald, as Craft warns us that the Sentinel artifact can consume you, likely hinting at the fate of potentially Sir Archibald and even Alistair Rhodes. Now, what is incredibly fascinating and pointed out on Twitter by @CodLawFacts is that the real name of the Warden from Mob of the Dead and Blood of the Dead is Archibald. And in Citadel Daymore, Alistair's heard talking to a man named Archibald who's overseeing the dig site in DLC 2. Now, either this is just a really weird coincidence and they are not linked at all, or this could be Treyarch actually trying to tie in the lore of the Warden's origins in the Dark Ether version of the story. I mean, we already have the Warden as a playable operator inside of the game, so eventually you'd think Treyarch would actually explain how he got there narratively in our new Dark Ether story. Coincidence, or is there actually more to it? Let me know your thoughts below. Now, on the topic of leaks, we do actually know a little bit about the Wonder Weapon for DLC 2, as according to both Reality UK and @Alan3rd90 over on Twitter, these are the code names for the upcoming Wonder Weapon on DLC 2, where it's just labeled as Opal Wonder Weapon, as Opal is the code name for the map. You can see specifically that it mentions about 3 different healing orbs, and Reality follows it up to say that this Wonder Weapon is also classed as a launcher, so take that as you want. There's a lot of speculation about the Origin staffs returning, and we'll dive into that in a moment, but what we can tell so far from data mined info shared on Twitter, that this is going to be some sort of healing weapon. But aside from those details, we have no idea what the weapon looks like, if it is a staff, if it's a big rocket launcher, as it's apparently classed as a launcher. We just don't know. Naniko's over on Twitter was able to data mine and share actual models and textures of other things in the map, including the Wonder Weapon quest with the ground being energized at some point, as well as there being 4 different energizing stones, are all slightly different in their height, their shape, their design, so that's something to keep in mind. It could hint at potentially 4 different variants of the weapon, with each of the 4 stones changing the weapon somehow. That might not be the only Wonder Weapon coming to DLC 2, because @Reality UK was also able to confirm that the coding for the Ray Gun Mark II is now back in the file. So you might recall back before DLC 1 was even announced, Ray Gun Mark II was apparently found in the beta version of Black Ops 6 and then was removed on the launch. Well, for some weird reason, it's apparently now back in the code, meaning that the Ray Gun Mark II might be back on the table. However, judging from the medieval vibes we got from DLC 1 and the potential ties to old French history, as well as potentially some throwbacks and callbacks to Origins, I just don't think Treyarch would add a brand new Wonder Weapon into the map and then also reintroduce another version of a ray gun in as well at the same time. But at least gives us a bit of an affirmation that at some point down the line, we might actually see the Ray Gun Mark II in the game. Now, also according to @Alan3rd90, Doppelgast will be returning for this Zombies map, and he's also been able to find visual effects of a waterfall in the map, and that there are Dark Ether ritual bowls. No further context given, but sounds pretty cool so far. Naniko's was also able to find what looked to be the model in-game for a torch that would be present in this map. That apparently is also already a model within Citadel Daymore, and a lot of people are speculating that this could be a staff. I don't see it at all. It's labeled as a torch, and I think it's literally just a torch that would be on a wall in a dark cave. I don't think there's anything more to it. Though if the staffs were to come back somehow to tie in with the Origins-esque part of this map being very close to it, then I'm all for it. But I all think we should have a very level head when it comes to expectations for DLC 2, as at first we all really jumped to conclusions with that ending going, yep, that is 100% teasing an Origins map there. But I gotta be honest, Treyarch were literally dangling a carrot in front of us with the words Excavation Site and Dig Site, and it being in France. Like, they knew what they were doing with that wording. And whilst I believe that we might see some portion of Origins in this map, either via callback, seeing it in the distance, potentially visiting some parts of it like the Crazy Place, which I think is quite likely, it wouldn't get your hopes up too much of it being a full-scale Origins remake where we see the staffs, we have giant robots. I just don't think we'll see that. And again, Treyarch want to approach every Zombies map in this game where it's completely original and new. And with the emphasis of this being a Excavation Site, a Dig Site, that means it's going to be a variety in the gameplay where this map is likely to be split down the middle of gameplay in open outdoor areas and then a ton of enclosed underground areas as well. That's going to make for some really interesting gameplay. We also have the teaser as well as leaks of new Gobblegums coming for DLC 2, and there are quite a number of Gobblegums, as in the Gobblegum Mania event right now, if you look in the background artwork, you can see that there are a ton of brand new redesigns, previous Gobblegums that are not yet in Black Ops 6, and this includes Aftertaste, which you can see the redesign of. Aftertaste allows you to keep your perks if you go down for 3 whole rounds. There's also Fear in Headlights, where all seen zombies can't move for 2 minutes. There's also Head Drama, where all shots deal critical damage lasting 2 whole rounds, as well as another whimsical returning Quacknarok, where zombies wear duck floats for 10 minutes. According to Semtex leaks, they've been able to discover a brand new Gobblegum in the files called Absolutely Over There. It's unknown what it will do, but you could assume based on its name that it would likely teleport you somewhere, and you might be able to choose where exactly you go. According to Nanny Codes, there is also another Gobblegum that was found within the files next to Absolutely Over There, being one called Dead Drop. Both of these will be a purple rarity Gobblegum, but aside from all of those mentioned in the artwork as well as what's leaked, we've also had the confirmation from Kevin Drew several months ago that Shopping Free will be coming at some point after launch. We don't know exactly when, but it's a Gobblegum that we are expecting to see at some point. Now, the big question is, when exactly can we expect to see DLC 2? Because Citadel Day More came a lot sooner than we expected and is the earliest we've seen a zombies map release for DLC 1 apart from Black Ops 4 Zombies DLC 1. When I visited Treyarch in August, they said that they want to make sure that the DLC release window with this game is a lot better than what we had with Black Ops Cold War, where due to the release of Outbreak, there was a massive gap between Firebase Z and Marauder Toten, with that gap being, I believe, about 4 to 5 months, so they definitely don't want to repeat that. If I had to take a guess, I would assume that we might not see this until Season 2 Reloaded, if not Season 3. At the moment, we just have no idea exactly when they could be bringing this, because we don't know exactly on their cadence, but I would assume that unlike previous years, we're going to have a lot of content to fill in the middle between zombies maps, so we don't necessarily get as big a drought in content as what we have had in prior games. So I would assume that maybe March time we might get this new map, which sounds like an absolute age away, and it does, because we're only in mid-December right now and having to wait like 3 months. Black Ops 6 isn't even 2 months old yet. It is going to feel like a pretty long wait if they do decide to wait until that long, but realistically I don't see it being any earlier. I could be wrong though, and I really hope I am. But that is literally absolutely everything we know so far about DLC 2 for Black Ops 6 Zombies. Let me know your thoughts and predictions and hopes for it down below in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, you found it informative, please let me and YouTube know by dropping a like rating to help it out in the YouTube algorithm, and consider subscribing, because the moment we get any new details on DLC 2, I'll be sure to upload a video and you'll be the first one to see it with those notifications. If you weren't aware, Treyarch just buffed the elemental swords in the Citadel boss fight, and they now might be one of the best weapons to use in this boss. And trust me, you will want to see it because it is insane. And you can check out that video here on your screen right now. I'll be with you in just a moment.